Welcome again to Bake Your Way Kitchen. On today's video, I'm going to do kind of an ingredients analysis on two baking ingredients that you often come across, and sometimes people confuse the two, thinking their baking powder and baking soda are the same when in fact they're quite different. Oftentimes you may see either one or both required for recipes that include muffins, cookies, a lot of different recipes. So what it really comes down to when it comes to the difference is the chemistry, and this is where the science of baking comes in. Baking soda has sodium bicarbonate in it, and obviously whenever you use baking soda, it does have a high sodium content in and of itself. So when you use baking soda, you usually see recipes call for less salt than, let's say, if a recipe called for baking powder. Baking soda, it works well, and it would react with various different ingredients that may be a little bit acidic. So oftentimes you'll see recipes require baking soda for those purposes. Baking powder is a little bit different. It actually contains both baking soda, elements of baking soda, as well as cream of tartar. And what makes this different is that it reacts and is best used with non-acidic ingredients that you would use. So oftentimes you'll see them in cookies. But oftentimes what you'll really see them for is anything that requires things to rise. And this is where both come into play. Let's say you're making a dessert or something that is with acidic ingredients. Oftentimes you'll see baking soda and baking powder used at the same time. The reason you would add in the baking powder, and the reason why baking powder is used to begin with, is because baking powder is a leavening agent. Baking soda is too, to an extent, but baking powder does have more of an effect. If you want something to have a lot of rise, baking soda is the proper solution for you. So that's pretty much it. So baking powder, really primarily just for baking. It's a great ingredient to have obviously on hand, and it's mainly used for that. Now baking soda is a little interesting because you can actually use it for various purposes. People often keep baking soda in the fridge to maintain it, keep any smell or odors away. But another interesting thing, if you have a fire, if there's a fire going on by the stove, or if anything goes out of control, pour a little bit of baking soda, and that fire will usually go right out. And it's very interesting, the science behind all of it. And obviously baking soda is also good for getting stains out of clothes, and as you can see I got one right here. So I'll probably be using this later on with some fizzy water and a few other things. But yeah, it just goes to show that many of these ingredients can be used in various different ways, and that they're not just ingredients, there's science behind them. And so I just thought I would show you. One other very important thing to keep in mind when you're using these ingredients for anything that you use them for is that you need to look at the expiration date or the best before date. Oftentimes people leave these in the cupboard for years, sometimes years. They just pile up there. You want to make sure you have one that is up to date, otherwise it will not have the effect it's supposed to have in your recipe. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks again for watching.